Why the universe doesn't care about your manifestations and affirmations. Have you been watching videos, reading books, and repeating mantras and affirmations for months or even years, following your favorite spiritual, positivity, or motivational coaches trying to manifest? And yet, nothing actually changes. Or maybe you've been told again and again that the universe is abundant and limitless, and that you are too, but you keep living in the exact same conditions you always have, facing the same problems with the same results. In this video, we are going to break down, explain, and expose the real root cause of why your manifestations haven't been working, and more importantly, how you can actually manifest in a real and practical way without burning yourself out or lying to yourself. Let's start with a very clear statement, because there is no way around it. The universe and reality do not care about you. You are not loved by the world. You are not loved by the universe. And here's the part most people miss completely. That is not a bad thing. In fact, it's the most beautiful part of all. Because you don't need the love of the universe. You need to understand it. The idea that the universe loves you is a comforting illusion. It is sold by fake manifestation coaches and spiritual influencers to give people an emotional answer to a problem that is far deeper and far more complex than emotions alone can solve. Yes, it feels good. It feels warm and it feels reassuring, but it keeps people blind. Because the truth has never been hidden. It has always been available to all of us, if we simply learn how to see instead of believe. So let's observe reality honestly for a moment. The majority of human beings on this planet, including people in the Middle East, Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, are living, and have been living, in conditions filled with violence, discrimination, poverty, suffering, and death for generations after generations. This has been the normal state of humanity for most of history. Only very recently, and only in a small number of countries, mostly in parts of Europe and a few other regions, has a minority of humans experienced relative safety, stability, and comfort. This single observation already tells you everything you need to know. If the universe loved people equally, reality would not look like this. Reality is neutral. The universe is indifferent. It does not favor you, nor does it punish you. And once you truly understand that, something important shifts in your mental state. Neutrality does not mean reality cannot be used. Reality does not care what you want. But reality responds to how you interact with it. And this is where almost everyone gets lost. As human beings, experiencing a small fragment of this universe, we actually have the ability to guide reality in specific directions. We can shape outcomes, influence probabilities, and change our lived experience. But not in the way you have been told, not through wishful thinking, not through affirmations alone, not through pretending everything is already perfect. There is a reason why the people we remember as spiritual teachers, mystics, or masters throughout history all seemed to bend reality in some form. Whether it was healing, insight, discipline, influence, or what people later called miracles, they were not special because the universe loved them more. They understood something fundamental about how reality works. And the first step they all shared was this. They learned how to sit with themselves, clear their mind, and gain control over their own inner world. You cannot manifest anything meaningful while your mind is filled with unresolved trauma, emotional conditioning, fear-based beliefs, and inherited limitations from your past experiences. You can repeat affirmations all day long. You can visualize whatever future you want. But until you rebuild your inner world from the ground up, manifestation remains surface level and inconsistent. So, how do you actually do that? The process is simple, but it is not easy. There are three main pillars: inner talk, outer action, environment. This is the formula people have been circling around for thousands of years. As you see, it's not a secret or magic, just misunderstood. Your inner talk, the constant dialogue you have with yourself every second of your life, whether you are aware of it or not, shapes roughly 1/3 of your reality. Another third comes from your actions, the actions you take because of your inner talk, or sometimes in spite of it. And the final pillar, the one most people completely ignore, is the environment. What you are surrounded by, who you spend time with, where you live, what information you consume daily. Ask yourself this: why do spiritual traditions across cultures always emphasize isolation, retreats, or sacred spaces? Because the environment directly affects how you perceive reality and how reality responds to you. Until these three pillars are aligned, inner talk, action, and environment, manifestation will always feel broken, inconsistent, or fake. And this is exactly why most manifestation coaches do not know what they are talking about. They focus almost entirely on inner talk, and even then, they reduce it to shallow positivity. They say nothing about reshaping your environment. They say nothing about disciplined, intelligent action. They say nothing about dismantling the emotional dependencies that keep people stuck. Instead, they sell belonging. They sell fake love. They sell the idea that the universe cares. Because emotional comfort is easier to sell than real freedom. And that is the illusion most people never escape. So now the real question becomes this: if the universe does not care, and reality is neutral, how do you work with it without exhausting yourself, without spiraling, and without wasting years chasing illusions? The answer is not in the effort you put in, and it is definitely not obsession. Burnout happens when people try to force reality while their inner world is still chaotic, their actions are inconsistent, and their environment keeps pulling them back to old patterns. Real manifestation works in the opposite direction. You stop trying to bend reality. You start removing resistance inside yourself. The first practical step is mental quieting. You are not trying to think better thoughts. You are learning to notice your thoughts without obeying them automatically. This means daily moments of stillness, silence, or observation, where you let your internal noise settle instead of feeding it. Not to feel good, but to regain authority over your attention. When your mind stops fighting itself, energy stops being wasted. The second step is small, precise action. Manifestation fails when people aim for huge outcomes with zero grounding. Instead of asking, "How do I manifest my ideal life?" the real question becomes, what is the smallest action I can take today that aligns with the direction I want to move in? Small actions compound. They stabilize your nervous system. They build trust with yourself. Reality responds to consistency, not intensity. The third step is environmental control, and this is where everything either locks in or gets destroyed. You do not manifest in isolation from your surroundings. If your space, your relationships, your information intake, and your daily rhythms reinforce who you used to be, then no affirmation in the world will override that. Practical manifestation means designing your environment so that the desired version of you becomes the default, not the exception. Less noise, fewer distractions, clear boundaries, intentional exposure. When your inner state is calmer, your actions are aligned, and your environment supports the direction you are moving toward, manifestation stops feeling like work. It becomes a side effect of your existence. You stop chasing, stop forcing, and you stop burning yourself out trying to convince reality to care about you. Because at that point, you are no longer asking the universe for permission. You are simply interacting with reality in a way that makes certain outcomes inevitable. And that is the difference between fantasy manifestation and real manifestation. One sells you false hope. The other builds inner power.